Hello! In this video I'm going to be showing you this device, which is what I'm calling the cassette controller. And the reason I'm calling it that is because it resembles the look of an old cassette tape. The reason it kind of reminds me of that is due to these two big pots on the front, these rotary knobs, which basically kind of look a bit like the kind of spindles on an old tape deck. Also on this controller we've got 4 buttons, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 LDR light sensors, one here and one here. On the back we've got this button, and this effectively turns it on and off, like so. You can see the little light, the LED at the front, indicating this. And we've also got, well, it's basically a metal aluminium project box, and which I drilled out, and inside it was originally started out as one of these and taken apart, and inside that, here's one I destroyed earlier. I've gone through quite a few of these. This is kind of what it looks like inside. You can see the analog ports there, analog sticks there, and then these are the bits where the actual pads or the buttons sort of push down onto, if you can see that. So these are the points at which I kind of soldered the buttons to. So if you solder one sort of side of the button of the connector to that, and then another one to ground, there's various points in this controller that actually link to ground. So one point would go to that point, and then the other to ground, which makes the button, enables the button to work basically. And these potentiometers here, these are effectively, there's a potentiometer there, a potentiometer there. So there's 4, 2 on each stick. If you take those apart, you can actually wire up these light dependent resistors to them, these LDRs. So and also the potentiometers here are also wired up to those. I won't go into too much detail exactly about how that's done, but yeah, so that's how they're wired up, and the buttons, like I said, are wired up to that. This red light is part of the LED that sort of goes there on the analog display. When you press the button, that's basically what that's doing, and that's turning the analog part of the controller on. So that's the kind of internal workings of it. So there's 4 buttons. Let me show you the actual interface here. If we look at the interface, you'll see that this actually relates directly to the controller. So these 4 buttons relate to the 4 buttons here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and these kind of spindle parts of the cassettes relate exactly to these, so that to the knobs on the front. The LDRs also control the flange, which you see at the bottom there, and the feedback there at the top. Okay, so a little bit about what these buttons do. The 2 buttons at the top basically change the actions of the 2 potentiometers. So if we've got this one selected by pressing this button here, that will make the potentiometers act as pitch and delay time. And then if we press this one here, which is this here, this actually switches it to work with the filter. So we've got cutoff and resonance of the filter. So those are those 2 buttons, and these 2 here relate to the sample that you're going to play back. So the one down here, you see that's counting up 2 through to 10, and that relates to these samples here. So if I count up through, rather than it switching every time, because you wouldn't necessarily want that, you might want to jump from sample 2 to sample 10, you can count up through, and then when you want to make your selection, you press the other button here to make the selection. So that's basically it. It's quite simple, but what it allows you to do is not actually have to interact with the mouse and go clicking around, except to change the filter over here. and to kind of turn the looping and play on and record even, but you don't have to interact with this. You can just use this, which is great because mice and trackpads aren't very good for interacting with audio. This actually is quite good, I've discovered. So yeah, so also over here, to turn it on, you click on here, and this will turn on the sound, and then you discover your joystick there, and you can detect it there. That basically polls the controllers, so you can find it there. And then here we've got play, loop, and if I want to record it and save it, I can do so clicking here, choose somewhere to record it, and then turn recording on there, and that will count up and show you that it's actually recording. So let's just have a little jam with this. You can kind of see the vibe. So I'm going to try and angle the screen down here a bit. This is actually going to prove to be a bit annoying, I think, but never mind, I'm sure it'll be fine. Hang on a sec. So let's just make sure this is working. for a sec. Hopefully you get the general idea. Also, I forgot to mention that these two boxes over here actually kind of help to scale the LDRs. For instance, if I had that on 0, because there's not that much light going to it, it's not going to have that much of an effect. So if I actually scale that to be the same, you can see there that I make full use of the slider. And the same here with the flanger. It basically reads the amount of light that's going to it. And then if I change this to be the same, you get the full range there. So that's quite a useful feature. I'll just show you under the hood as well. We've got this sub-patcher here with an HI object within it, and then this is all routed to these outlets, which are then going out to the buttons. So if I press the buttons here, you can see that they're working. The ones that count through are going to this counter, and then the other one to make that selection is going to this metro here, which is then triggering a gate, and then that's letting through the number, which is then triggering the sample. SF play there, and this one, this pot is triggering the pitch, which is going straight to SF play here through speed, and this bit of maths, and then we've got these other buttons here triggering a gate, which is switching between the filter over here and the delay time and the pitch. What else is there to say about this? You can kind of see what's going on there, and if you read the write-up, it kind of explains it in a little bit more detail. So thanks very much. That's the cassette controller.